Have you ever felt like this life isn't your first? A quiet sense that you've walked these streets before, said these words before, loved and lost the same faces in different times. You can't explain it, yet it follows you like a shadow. Moments of déjà vu, emotions that seem older than your body, wisdom that didn't come from books. Maybe you weren't imagining it. Maybe your soul remembers. Tonight, we travel through 8 signs that may reveal you are not living your first story. You are continuing one. Sign 1. The recognition of places. It starts subtly. You arrive somewhere new, a narrow street in a foreign city, a temple in ruins, an empty field at sunset, and something deep inside you whispers, I've been here before. You notice how your steps fall naturally, how your hands touch old stones like they're greeting an old friend. The air feels familiar. The silence feels known. Science calls it déjà vu, a trick of memory. But ancient mystics called it the echo of return. Reincarnated souls often carry fragments of landscapes from other lives. Not clear images, but emotional imprints. That strange warmth of belonging where logic says you don't. And if this has ever happened to you, the next sign might sound even closer. Sign 2. Emotions without reason. Sometimes the soul remembers through feeling, not thought. You fear drowning, though you've never seen the open sea. You feel sorrow when hearing a melody you've never known. You avoid fire, heights, or silence, and can't say why. Reincarnation theory suggests that unresolved pain follows a soul, not to punish, but to be completed. Each fear is an unfinished lesson, each emotion a key left in a locked door. So when emotion arises without cause, don't reject it. Ask it what it's trying to finish, because the soul rarely cries for no reason. And when that lesson is heard, the emotion releases, like memory finally set free. Sign 3. People who feel too familiar. There are meetings that defy logic. You see someone for the first time, and your heart reacts before your mind does. You feel instant trust, or instant resistance, as if your soul already knows how this story once ended. Mystics say souls travel in clusters, weaving in and out of each other's lives, changing costumes but not connection. In one life you may have been parent and child, in another, lovers or rivals. But the bond remains. That's why certain people feel magnetic. You're not meeting for the first time. You're continuing a conversation that began lifetimes ago. So when someone's presence stirs something ancient in you, pause. You might be remembering a soul you once knew by another name. And if you recognize others so easily, it's because somewhere within, you also remember yourself. Sign 4. Wisdom beyond your years. Have you ever felt older than your age? Not in body, but in knowing you understand loss before experiencing it. You sense cycles of rise and fall, cause and effect with natural clarity. You forgive quickly, not because it's easy, but because you know anger changes nothing. Old souls carry knowledge not learned but recalled. Children sometimes speak of past homes. Adults sometimes feel weary as if they've seen all this before, because perhaps they have. If you often feel detached from worldly chaos, not cold but calm, that's the stillness of experience far older than this lifetime. You've played this game before, and now you simply play it wiser. Sign 5. The gift of talent. Reincarnated souls often arrive with abilities they've never been taught. You touch an instrument, and it responds like an old friend. You paint with grace beyond practice. You write words that feel downloaded rather than created. Many ancient traditions believe that talent is not discovered, it's remembered. What you loved in one life becomes your strength in the next. Even obsessions can be echoes. The crafts, styles, and passions that call to you like unfinished art. It's not nostalgia. It's continuation. And perhaps that's why certain people seem born for something. Because, in truth, they already were. And while skills are traces of the past, sometimes the pull comes not from what we do, but from where we once were. Sign 6. Drawn to another time or place. Have you ever felt an inexplicable connection to a distant era? An attraction to ancient Egypt, Japan's temples, the streets of Rome, or the songs of a forgotten tribe? You dress in styles that seem unmodern. You find beauty in the old, comfort in the ancient. It's not imagination. It's resonance, a frequency of memory aligning with a time once yours. History teachers might call it interest, but the soul calls it homecoming. You might find yourself collecting relics, reading old names aloud, or weeping in museums for no reason. Your soul is simply remembering a time when those stories were your own. Sign 7. Synchronicity and divine timing. The reincarnated often notice patterns, numbers that repeat, signs that align, coincidences that feel scripted. You miss a train and meet a person who changes your destiny. You lose something precious, only to find what you truly needed. It's as though invisible hands adjust your path. That's because in the language of the soul, there are no accidents, only reminders. Every alignment, every strained coincidence is the universe whispering, "You've done this before. You're exactly where you need to be." Trust the rhythm. Old souls rarely move too early or too late. And perhaps that rhythm is what prepares us for the final sign, the one that most clearly separates an old soul from a new one. Sign 8. Peace with the end. Most people fear death, but some don't, not because they're reckless, but because they remember. Deep inside, reincarnated souls carry the quiet truth that death is not an ending. It's a doorway. They have crossed it before, felt the stillness after the final breath, then the spark of return. Another name, another story, the same essence. That's why some people speak of death with serenity. They know there is no real loss, only transformation. If you can look at mortality with calm acceptance, it may not mean you're brave. It may mean you remember the journey beyond it. So, what do these signs really mean? They are not proof. They are whispers, reminders in the universe that your story is far older and far more infinite than you can imagine. Reincarnation isn't about who you were. It's about what your soul has learned. Each lifetime, another page in the same endless book. Each love, another echo returning home. So if you feel the weight of other ages, if you dream in languages you've never spoken, if you meet people who feel like memories, perhaps it's not fantasy. Perhaps it's remembering. Because the soul doesn't start over. It continues. And if this journey resonated with you, maybe you just heard your own echo. Thank you for being here. Again, the story of the soul never ends, and neither does the search for truth. If this spoke to something ancient inside you, stay with us, subscribe, and keep walking with the light, because somewhere between the past and what's still to come, your soul is waiting to remember even more.